so that sort of tipping my toes into an opportunity that allowed me to bring in income for my family, whether it be soccer money. There were times it was grocery money. There were times it was car payment money. There was times it was travel money. But it really opened up the opportunity for me to feel like I could contribute to our family without having to sacrifice, my desire and what I felt like I was, God called me, which was to be a mom and a wife first and foremost.
More and more people want the flexibility to earn money outside of a traditional office setting. If you're interested in part-time money, side hustles, or full-time work, the number of opportunities to work from anywhere is growing. On our Work From Anywhere segment today, we're going to interview Lisa Zeeveld. Lisa is the CFO and the original cultivator of Belay, the leading virtual staffing solutions company. Under her leadership, Belay has been awarded the Top 5,000 Growing Companies Award from Inc. magazine 8 years in a row. Today, we're going to discuss the benefits of working as a virtual assistant and how you don't always have to own your own business to work from home. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Well, thank you, Andy. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. I am excited to talk to you and highlight your company, Belay, because I've been enjoying Belay as a customer of yours for the past year. And I think it's great. And I think that it could really help a lot of people, whether they are looking to work from home or maybe they have their own small business. Let's first start talking about your situation and maybe how where you work now has a little bit of a story close to your heart. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I know. We started this podcast and I just started to unload on you why I'm so passionate about families and remote work. But yeah, so that pretty much takes us to almost about 23 years ago. My son is 23, and had always thought I had a working mom. I grew up with an awesome working mom, and so just sort of assumed that when I entered into this journey of motherhood, that I would also be a working mom. I respected it, wanted to do it, and never thought that I would have the reaction I did right after my son was born. And it was crazy because there was all this joy. And it took me, probably that first night of going, oh, wait a second, I'm supposed to leave him with somebody else now? Like, that's crazy. And of course, I couldn't tell my husband that because we were a 2-income family. We had built our life over 2 incomes, and so went through the process of like, we were going to put him in daycare. And, sure enough, we had listened to some radio shows. Imagine that's back in the day when we didn't have podcasts like this awesome one here, Andy. We had radio shows and just really hearing how people spoke about families and the importance of families. And so I ended up going to work for 2 days. At that time, I was a financial planner. So I worked in wealth management, and I was going to work for Monday and Tuesday, and I had Wednesday off that first week, and went back on Thursday and picked my son up from daycare. And I remember my husband walked in and I'm sobbing. I'm nursing my son and I'm sobbing. And he's going, what are you doing? And I said, yeah, I can't do this. And so at that moment, luckily I had my faith to lean into, and we just started praying and being like, we've got to do something. And so made the decision at that point, kind of crazy, to basically downsize. Our life again was built off of 2 incomes. And so we downsized, sold everything, moved across the country, and started a life as a 1-income family. Fast forward 3 years later, I had my daughter and continued to do so. And then that is when the Internet of Things and the possibility of remote work really started to come to the forefront, and had an awesome opportunity to join the fabulous company that I work for today. And what started out as just like 5 hours a week. And I love that because at no point, and still today, even though I have an adult child and one in college, I always wanted them to know that they came first. And so that sort of tipping my toes into an opportunity that allowed me to bring in income for my family, whether it be soccer money. There were times it was grocery money. There were times it was car payment money. There was times it was travel money. But it really opened up the opportunity for me to feel like I could contribute to our family without having to sacrifice, my desire and what I felt like I was, God called me, which was to be a mom and a wife first and foremost. And so that's the abbreviated story of why I'm so passionate about it. And now on the other side with adult kids, I can say that it mattered that I made them a priority.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And not only did you talk about the financial benefits, knowing your wealth management background and everything like that, the financial benefits
Yeah,
of adding a little bit to the family kitty there as you guys are growing your wealth, but also the personal benefits for yourself as well. You know, I think there was times
right,
I'll speak for my wife as she was being a stay at home mom for about 5 years, and there was a point in time where she's just like, I need something outside of just being
right.
a mom too and feeling important. Can you talk about those types of benefits for people who want to add that type of hours into their lives, maybe if they are a stay at home parent?
Yeah, I mean, I just started to notice, number one, yes, we needed, how could we had made such a drastic decision to downsize everything, right? And I know that not everybody has the ability to do that. That worked for us. But outside, so we set up our life for one income, but then kids grow up and they get more expensive. you know, at first you're just trying to buy some diapers, and then all of a sudden it becomes camps and schools and all these other things. And so number one, the driver was that I was looking to bring in extra income for the family, and I wanted to feel like I was contributing at a greater level. I had done so when my husband and I met. I was working, and so although this was something he was equally as passionate about, I hate to say it, but I do feel like there was a little bit of guilt there, right? Like I knew how busy I was, and I knew, but I also knew that there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders to provide now for a family of four, not just, two of us. So definitely the financial aspect was there. Number two is I really felt like I could contribute to society in a greater way. I love people. I knew that I was gifted with numbers. And so I wanted to contribute to something that was bigger than me and bigger than our family. And lastly, it made me more interesting. And I think a lot of people forget that part. All of a sudden, it wasn't that when my husband and I sat down for dinner or when I would visit family or friends that I could talk about the latest TV show that the kids were watching or how they were doing in soccer, but that I could actually feel like I could talk about bigger things that were happening in the world because I was now a part of it. And that elevated my confidence in who I was because I was like, wow, I'm not only taking care of this beautiful family that God has gifted me, but I'm using my talents to actually make the world a better place. And for those that are listening, y'all, that started with 5 hours a week. It was just a little bit made the biggest difference. And I tell you what, when I got that first paycheck, and I was able to, it went in there ACH. Actually, my first one for Belay was a handwritten check because that was back in the day. But I really did feel like, I could do anything at that point. And it was just a few $100s, but it was a few $100s that made our family a little lighter because I didn't have to worry about maybe the grocery bill as much as I did before.
I love that. Yeah, I love your point on kind of diversifying our conversation or diversifying who we are as an individual because I have found
Yeah,
myself when people are like, hey, how was your summer? Or how are you doing? My first
yeah,
response is like, how my kids are doing, as opposed to like, no, no,
right.
they were asking you, man, how are you doing? But I kept on reflexively talking about
Yes.
my kids because I spent a lot of time with them this summer. So yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. And I think it's important for us to kind of maybe diversify our identity a little bit and adding a little bit of work into there. I think there's this happy medium that maybe our society is finding or trying to find where it's like, the work grind so much all the time, long commute. That's we've done that. That's a little bit harsh. And obviously we need to make some money. So I feel like somewhere in this middle ground of
Hmm.
flexible work, work from home, part-time work is where I think it's at. Obviously, you have to be financially stable. You have to work on some things to right size
Right.
your lifestyle to be able to make that happen. But I think that sacrifice is something for people to consider. Now, I understand with Belay, you guys have multiple opportunities for different people to take advantage of this type of part time work. Can you talk about what type
Yeah.
of part time flexible work that Belay provides?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fun thing about it is that although I'm now the CFO of Belay, when I was first given this opportunity, it was literally 5 hours a week, and I was a virtual assistant. So for those who are listening out there and they're going, is this something I want to do? Just know I started out just like you did, and we don't offer 5 hours a week. We actually have monthly packages now. But yeah, it we have a virtual assistant, and that basically is imagine all the things that you would do as an executive assistant if you were in an office. So calendaring, email, travel arrangements, you're really the extension of that leader. And I think that's a really important part to highlight. My assistant is like my second brain. If we could, think of being conjoined, that's kind of how we are. I actually wrote her a Slack message this morning and asked her if she remembered to do something or if I had asked her to do something. And I was like, oh, I forget sometimes you don't live in my brain, right? Because I just so often just expect her to be there. They're not mind readers at all. But yeah, so it's just a variety of things from, doing personal tasks for the leader to simply helping them run their business because we have a lot of solopreneurs who are our clients. Outside of that, we also have an accounting services leg of our business, and that's from a bookkeeper. You can also look at being a payroll specialist. We have accounting clerks. So maybe you are looking to become a bookkeeper, but right now you're just really good at data entry and you're looking to enter the field. Accounting clerk is a great way to do that. We also have social media managers, is another great position to be in as well. So lots of good opportunities for those who maybe are transitioning out of a traditional corporate type of job. But here's the thing, I have a lot of acquaintances and friends who've asked me over the years, hey, I am a teacher, I work in retail, do my skills transfer over? And in some cases, they do absolutely, transfer over. In other cases, maybe not, but there's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of training out there that you can get for free that would enable you to pass our assessment tools. We have kind of a longer process here in order to join our team, but a lot of assessment tools or a lot of training you can take in order to pass our assessment tools to kind of get into our pool of contractors that we can leverage for future opportunities.
I love that. Yeah, a lot of different opportunities, and a lot of people maybe you've spent some time in the corporate world and you've gained those skills, and you can translate it now to being able to work at home and then help
Right.
some small businesses out. I am currently really, really enjoying working with my executive assistant. She helps me out a lot and has I think a decade plus of experience working in the corporate world and is
Right.
bringing that to help me with my small business. And I think it's fantastic. One hesitation that people have is when it comes to benefits, obviously, like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to leave I really do want to stay at home with kids or at least have this part-time opportunity where I'm able to be more flexible for them coming in and out, but I'm really worried about losing my benefits from work or things like that.
Hmm.
I know you spent some time in the family finance world. What
Yes.
other options do parents have for those types of worries?
Yeah, Belay, we operate on a contractor basis. And so if you're thinking, gosh, this sounds like a wonderful opportunity, just know that you would join our team as an independent contractor. So it really is that you're starting your business, but you just have a lot of help in doing that. So you're not going to have the luxury of maybe some benefits that you've enjoyed in the corporate world. That would include health benefits, 401k, PTO. However, in a lot of situations, what we find is individuals that are looking for this type of work may have a spouse or a partner who's able to pick up those benefits for them. And then when it comes, time for PTO, basically you're just going to work with your leader, the individual that you've been partnered with at Belay, in order to make up that time. So if you want to go to a week in Disney, that's fine. Maybe you want to work, an hour or two each day. Kids go to bed early, or they might wake up a little bit later. You're standing in a long line. I've done that before and answered some emails. But ultimately, yes, if you start working as a contractor, you are going to see that there's going to be a gap in your benefits. If you don't have a spouse or a partner who can fill that gap for you, there are definitely marketplaces to look for your health benefits. And there's some other great programs too outside of marketplaces where you can join a group and you kind of all contribute together. And so you might pay a very low monthly cost, but that it's going into a large pool. So it's not actually insurance, but basically you're all helping each other out in the case of some medical needs there. So that's one opportunity. Outside of Belay, there's a lot of organizations who are looking to actually place people in remote positions where they may be, hiring as a W-2 that might offer you an opportunity for health benefits. And again, maybe something like a 401k.
Yeah, that's great. I found that the marketplace helped me out when my wife and I both went to the sort of part time work world where we weren't receiving benefits from a traditional employer anymore, and We ended up finding
Right.
something that's pretty comparable to what I had in my full-time job lifestyle. And yeah, we pay a
Yes.
little bit more for it, but we also have a lot more flexibility in our life. So we definitely enjoy that. Lisa, you know, you started to talk a little bit about hours worked and things like that. Can you
Mhm.
remind us again, what is the situation with being a virtual assistant at Belay? Like, what type of hours would somebody be looking at if they were to make it through the application process?
Yeah, absolutely. So, typically, our first package for our leaders who are looking for an executive assistant is going to start at that 45 hours per month. Now, I'm sure there's somebody who's watching this or listening and going, why is it 45 hours per month? Well, remember, we want you to be flexible in your time. For that small amount of hours, you might have a leader who says, Mondays are super light for me. And so you might just check some emails and spend 30 minutes, but maybe they do an all team meeting on Mondays. And so then Tuesdays are going to be your busy day. And you might do, 2 hours on that Tuesday. So what we really wanted to do was offer a program that provided flexibility for those leaders and flexibility for the contractors. So 45 hours a month. Here's the great thing. If your leader wants to increase those hours and you're okay with it, then you get paid more. Or if there's a special project that you're working on, then that's sort of what we call extra service hours. And so you would just say, hey, I talked with Andy. He's got a special event that's coming up. And so we've been working extra hard, but he's already approved for me to do 10 extra hours this month. And then those would be billed. So definitely an opportunity for you to start small, again, about 45 hours a month. And then you can always grow for that. Here's another really cool thing is you can have multiple clients. So for our virtual assistants, we try to cap those off at 2 clients because it's super hard. I was one of the very first, super hard to have more than 2 clients. It's a lot to remember. But with 2 clients, you really do have the opportunity to find ways to improve and to grow that engagement, is what we call it, where you could add on more hours to that. If you're talking about our accounting services, that gives you a lot more flexibility because the work is not so much as support as it is task based. And so if you are a bookkeeper who joined our team, you could have, 8, 9, 10 clients because the volume is not on an everyday basis, and you're just processing bills and you're doing financial reporting and you're around for questions and answers too. So definitely a lot of opportunities to work, small or large, depending upon where you fall. We definitely have contractors who are working full-time hours and they love it. And then we have others who are very happy with one client because it just brings in enough money for them to feel like they're contributing to their family, and they're very happy with it.
That's great. Can you talk about the difference between, somebody listening right now just saying, you know what, I guess I could just start my own business doing these types of things
Yeah.
instead of, working for a contracting staffing company. What's the difference in your eyes? I guess maybe pros and cons.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about working with an organization like Belay as an independent contractor versus having your own business is there's no marketing cost. I'm sure that feels like a very silly answer to the question, but it is one of the hardest things that any new business owner will do is to go out there and to find clients. Now, here's the also awesome thing is you can be a contractor with Belay and still work with maybe somebody in your community who's looking for a virtual assistant. There's nothing that says you can't do both of those. But if you're in a position where you don't want to have to worry about the legal side of things, you don't want to have to worry about billing the client, you don't want to worry if they don't pay. It happens. We have clients that don't pay us, but guess what? Our contractors still get paid. um, and so there's a lot of benefits on working with an organization like Belay. Now, here's the thing, you're going to do your research. I hope you do. I hope you Google it and say, how much can a virtual assistant make? And you're going to find that the rate is probably going to be a little bit higher than what we offer here at Belay. But again, that's saying that you're putting up your own website, you're handling all the billing, you are handling the marketing, you're beating the ground, looking after it. We take all that away. And so, of course, the hourly rate is going to, kind of reflect that. So that is what it looks like working with Belay, maybe as an independent contractor versus starting your own company. But again, there's W-2 opportunities out there as well. And so if you love the idea of being a virtual assistant, but you're like, I don't want to have to worry about my taxes, because hey, with a 1099 independent contractor, you are running your own business as in the IRS eyes, and you're going to have to plan for taxes. That's something you want to look for. And you just want to work as a W 2, plenty of other opportunities out there. Even some of our larger staffing organizations in the space right now are looking for remote workers, and that could be typically they are full time, but every once in a while you'll find a part time opportunity, and that may be right for you to do that.
I think that's great. Yes, as a small business owner, I can tell you that there are clients that you have to chase to actually pay
Yes.
you. So you have to make sure that you get paid, and you got to do a lot of marketing, you got to do a lot of sales. I think leaving the corporate work world where I was an employee for 15 years, I
Yeah.
definitely took for granted all the beautiful things that the corporate world provides
My
you,
gosh.
whether that's benefits or things like that. So having those clients already there set for you that are vetted by Belay to make sure that's a good fit is a big win. If you guys are interested in checking out to see if becoming a Belay VA is something you're interested in, go to marriagekidsandmoney.com/Belay VA. That is BELAYVA, marriagekidsandmoney.com/Belay VA. I'm an affiliate with Belay. I'm an affiliate because I utilize their services. I think they're fantastic, and I know, like, and trust them. Now, if you have a small business, you can reach out to me as well to see if you want to pair up with Belay, because I can hook you up with Teresa, the person I work with, that can help you connect and see if it's a good fit for your small business. You can do that at Andy@marriagekidsandmoney.com. Just shoot me an email. Lisa, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know
Yeah,
this is going to help a lot of people out there that are seeking these types of flexible work opportunities. I really appreciate
absolutely.
your time.
No, thank you again, Andy. I appreciate your welcoming me with such open arms, and it's been fantastic to talk with you.